Today marks the beginning of Women's History Month. When it comes to ways to celebrate, well, we've got you covered. So here with what you need to know is Shari. Certainly a lot to celebrate.
Good stuff.
It's really good stuff. What are some of the highlights?
Well, so Women's History Month is all about celebrating the accomplishments of women in all different facets of our lives. And it's a concept that happens here, but also in other countries around the world. So this is really an international type thing. Began around 1911 in New York and California, and then President Carter's era is when it was really indoctrinated for a week, and Congress later made it a month. So it's a really good time every year to kind of check back in terms of our progress. A lot of the times presidents will authorize studies during this time and that type of thing.
I know that we often think about pay with women, and that's what usually comes up. Where are we today in all forms of equality for women? Where do we stand?
Well, you know, it's really interesting because there are so many different facets. So there are millions more women in our country now than men. Women are almost half of the workforce, but more than half of college students. Something I think is really interesting, Roxanne, is that 90% of professions like nurses and dental assistants are still made up of women, but less than 25% of other professions, for example, computer programmers, police officers, engineers, are women. And of course, we're still only making 80 cents on the dollar. So there are a lot of different hairs to this whole equality picture. It's not just one thing. There are so many different elements to cover.
So what's the theme this year?
Well, the theme this particular year is the impact of trailblazers in the labor and business forces, which is actually a really interesting theme because women do have a lot of impact, but still we're trying to get more women on corporate boards and in leadership positions, the whole Sheryl Sandberg Lean In movement. So it's been a hot area. And here in Palm Beach, you can celebrate. A lot of local organizations are doing that. There are events at the public library, the Women's Chamber. Our schools oftentimes initiate programs and projects for the kids this time of year. So it's a really good opportunity, especially if you have young daughters, to just raise awareness, but also for our young sons, because this is an issue that works both ways.
Well, I think it's nice, and I think it's also good if you can attend some of these events. It empowers women, it empowers families, as you said, even families with girls and boys, to see where women have been and where we are going.
Right, and it's up to all of us where we want to go.
Thanks, Shari. Great info.
Sure.
Glad to have you with us, as always.
Roxanne.